So we got another game coming up this weekend in London. I think this is like, the third or fourth? Who cares? It's the Denver Broncos and the Jacksonville Jaguars who are going to be kicking off in London, 9:30 Eastern Time, 6:30 Pacific, 3:30 in Hawaii coming up this Sunday morning. And, Russell Wilson's been dealing with, some injuries, some issues, some little ailments here. And he decided to share his recovery process while on a long flight over to London and ended up breaking down what the entire team was doing on this flight over to London. Here was Russ.
I don't really get jet lag too often. I don't really, I've traveled enough to get, kind of get my system down. But yeah, for me, I was on the plane about 8 hours flight here. The first 2 hours I was watching the film, watching all the cut-ups and everything else. And then for the next 4 hours, I was doing treatment on the plane. I was walking up and down the aisles. Everybody was knocked out. I was doing high knees and working on my legs and everything else, making sure I'm ready to rock. So that was good. And then the last 2 hours, the last hour of that, I fell asleep for 1 hour, and I watched the film the rest. So I felt good to go once we got back.
All right. This has got to be a troll job, right? No,
I don't know. If someone was doing high knees down an aisle and I got woke up because of that like they would have to throw us both off the plane because I would be fighting. That would make me so annoyed if I was sleeping on a plane and someone woke me up doing high knees down the aisle. I mean, are the aisles even wide enough to do high knees?
Probably on one of them big flights it is.
Well, I went over to London with the Broncos. I mean, it's a wide-body jet, but, like, they're not that wide, man, as far as the aisles. It's just more seats.
depends on what cabin you're in. I mean,
yeah, we were in the bigger cabin.
There's room where they wouldn't have to bother you, but because you generally have pods and stuff anyway if they're on that type of. For me, the bigger issue here is you're kind of saying I work harder than everyone.
Bingo.
I watched the film.
They were knocked out. I was doing high knees.
I'm rehabbing. Everybody's knocked out. I don't get jet lagged. I just get ready. I make sure I'm ready to go while the guys are sleeping. Like, the innocent part of me says the dude is an innocent dude that truly has a mindset and a focus to be a leader, to protect his flock. He's almost like a pastor. Like, he comes across to me like he belongs in a pulpit. And sometimes when you're as talented and as accomplished as someone as Russell Wilson and such a public figure, and then the decisions, like you marry a freaking amazing, performer and just, I mean, she's desirable by the masses. So when you put all of those things together, when you're trying to come across as a consummate professional, a leader of men, and it comes across the way that it's come across from Russ, it just seems like it's an easy target. But now it's dangerous. He's flirting dangerously with arrogance.
Oh, he's being dangerous, you say?
Yeah.
He's being dangerous?
With
is that what you're saying?
Dangerous.
Yeah.
He is dangerously getting close. Yeah, he's getting close, man.
There's two possibilities here. Either this is a giant troll job and he's just busting everybody's balls, or he's one of the biggest tools walking the face of the earth right now.
That was aggressive.
Okay. That was aggressive. The last part was aggressive.
Okay, aggressive or not, come on, man. Well, why do you need to – first of all, why do you need to tell anybody what the breakdown of your sleep to workout ratio and when you were doing it on the flight? And why do you have to point out that everybody else is sleeping while you're doing high knees? He's trying too hard.
But I think he didn't want people to feel as though he was bothering anyone while he was doing what he was doing. I think he analyzes and comes up with antidotes in the way they make sense to him. And I mean, I just don't think he's malicious in what he's doing, even though it comes across as arrogant and self-absorbed. I don't know. It's weird.
It may
I don't
not
think
be
it's
malicious,
though.
but it's still happening.
Well, that is very true.
Like there's a lot of bad people out there that don't realize what they're doing is bad. I'm not saying he's a bad guy, but like he's making it worse. Like if you're one of those guys and you hear those comments, and you're on his team, aren't you thinking to yourself like, why? What are you doing, dude? Like why is this even a conversation? Like,
why is it even a conversation?
Yeah,
but again, he wants to have opinions. He wants people to. It's important to him, seemingly, from my perspective, for people to know who he is. Know how he handles things. Have a connection. It's important to him to humanize himself to the people that are paying attention to him. For all the people that think, self-absorbed, arrogant, this, that, and the other, there are a ton of people that think that it's like that's the way it should be.
God.
That's how you should handle it, or what a great example of a person. And I don't know that they're wrong. He's just corny. It's just really what it comes down to is he's corny as hell. And in the end, it seems like he's probably a good dude. And if you know him or if you met him, I would assume that you like him. He's a good dude, but he's corny. Like he's the antithesis. He's the opposite end of the spectrum of other guys. And he's not really relatable to a lot of, I would say, a lot of pros. And that might be a generalization, and I apologize if I've offended anyone who may hear this that plays in the pros and may relate totally to Russell Wilson. But I think he's not relatable. And trying to be relatable, I think he comes across as unrelatable. I don't relate to him.
Here's the question, though. Has it always been like this? Because it seems like it's over this past offseason into this season where all of this has come out. Is it the fact that –
It's a great question.
Is the fact that he was like this but no one knew about it because he was in the Pacific Northwest and you don't get the same national attention? Is it because of, and being that Denver media market and now he's more in the spotlight with all these primetime games and different things going on? Is it what he feels like he needs to be now that he's in that position? And so he's changed his demeanor? Like that's what I want to know. Because, again, the attention and the criticism or – however you want to describe the coverage of him, it has changed drastically over the course of the past year, where now he's being criticized, he's being poked fun at, he's being looked at as corny. Like, I don't know that people were saying that during his time in Seattle. Maybe some of the players in the locker room were with some of the stuff they saw. But, my experience being around him and knowing him was he's a good guy. He's a good dude who just has that mindset of this is what I need to do in order to be successful. And we live in a society where you can look on social media, you can look anywhere you want, especially when you're a prominent figure, to hear someone talk poorly about you. Like if you want to buy into that, feed into that. But he doesn't want to hear it. He doesn't want to hear that. And he doesn't want to have to it's not, I should say have to. He doesn't believe in looking or feeding into that. He believes in keeping everything positive, keeping everything focused, keeping everything on the goal or the task at hand. And there's something to be commendable for that because it seems robotic. It doesn't seem like you said relatable, but how a lot of people kind of talked about him was like it was just robotic. Like he would get in a routine and that was his process and that's what he would do every day. But I'll be honest with you, for some people, they love that. Like if you're an owner of a company, you love that out of an employee. When you know what to expect every single day out of that person, they come in and they're the exact same way, positive person like that, or if it's a teammate, something like that. So that's what I want to know, though, is just how it changed over the course of the past 8 to 10 months, where now he's being characterized completely different than how I think a lot of people looked at him in Seattle.
When do you guys think the criticism started? Is it based upon their lack of success or his lack of success? When do we think it started? See, to me, I feel like it might have started coming to the surface when you had guys like beloved players from Seattle who said they didn't fool with him and kind of put him out there like that.
I think that's when we first started hearing stories. It was Seth Wickersham of ESPN did a big, long article about some of the, I don't know if mistrust or whatever from the organization and players on the team, most notably the Legion of Boom guys, who felt like Pete Carroll gave Russell Wilson preferential treatment. And that was from years and years ago. And then you just sort of see how this all played out. And then you see how Pete Carroll is all of a sudden buddy-buddy with all these former Seahawks players. And I just wonder if maybe Pete Carroll looks at it and says, maybe those guys, those guys were right.
They were right.
Maybe I shouldn't have given preferential treatment. And there was like a lot of people, and I don't know if this is true, but a lot of people think that the reason why they threw that ball from the 1 yard line in the Super Bowl is because they wanted to establish Russell Wilson as the guy.
A lot of people said that.
Yeah, instead of just giving it to Marshawn Lynch.
They wanted him to win the Super Bowl.
I don't know if that's true. That's just some speculation.
There's no truth to that, dude. I mean, you were making that decision in seconds. You really think in the headset they're like, all right, boys, this is the moment. Let's go get him the MVP. Let's do it. I mean, come on.
A lot of people talked about they wanted it to be Russell Wilson's his Super Bowl. I mean,
it doesn't matter. I mean, come on. Like
what people report.
LaVar, you call defense.
Yep.
Right? And does that thought ever in your head going through your mind at a huge moment, a critical moment? This isn't like a blowout where you're like, hey, let's go get that guy's stats, right? Or let's go do this to kind of showcase this player. You're talking about a critical moment of the game.
It's only the
clock
Super Bowl.
management.
I'm always playing to win. But with that being said, I'm not attached to millions of dollars either. I'm not attached to, ticket sales. I'm not attached to jersey sales or whatever else sales that come along with having franchise players, and most specifically your quarterback's position. I would say I 100% agree with you that they're not like, okay, this is the Super Bowl, big moment. It is the Patriots. Let's put the ball in Russ's hands. But I will say this. I also will say if I'm dialing up a blitz and the game is on the line, I'm blitzing my best player. Like, I'm sending my best guy. So if I'm putting the play that I'm dialing up on any of my personnel that's in the game, I am 100% saying this is the last play.
They thought their best chance was throwing right there with Russell. And by the way,
I would assume,
if we were to break down that play, the biggest issue with that play is the fact that they ran it from shotgun. If he's under center, the ball's in his hands quicker, it's out of his hand quicker. Malcolm Butler never has the chance to break it up, intercept it. Like, that was all – because it's the look that – if you want to run that play, that's the look you're looking for. You're literally looking for that specific look is how they're loaded up.
But, it's a route. It was a route, I believe, right? Listen, it's a chance of error. If Malcolm Butler doesn't make that play – doesn't adjust that way, that's an easy 6 points. I mean, that's a go-to play because it's very difficult in man. They knew they were going to play man coverage. It's a very difficult route to play, especially in short yardage situations, because it's a very quick developing play. So the margin of error in that moment is very slim. It was an amazing play. It was a phenomenal play by a player. Sometimes it goes that way, sometimes it doesn't.
It is what it is. It is crazy that 1 yard and that one play was the difference between a dynasty in one direction or the other, because that would have been back-to-back Super Bowls for Seattle, and then that was the first one in a long time for New England, and they went on to win a few. So it's wild to think there it is.
Unlimited. Yeah. You got to be unlimited.
Man of the people. Down to earth.
I know that I'm a great football player.
Hey.
I know I've been great. I know I will be great.
No ego.
I know I'll continue to be great.
Just one of the guys. Just one of the guys. High knees on a plane over to London.
You don't get that contract and Sierra being an average dude. So if I'm Russ, I'm unapologetically going to be me and tell everybody who feels a certain type of way about me, they can kiss my ass. That's what I would say.
Wow.
I mean, honestly.
Pretty aggressive here.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, you don't become who he becomes off of being anything but who he is. So, the people that are criticizing him, personally, I think he's corny. But in the end, I wasn't there with him when he was in Virginia, when everything was getting started, or when he went to the NC State and it didn't work out there, or when he went to Wisconsin and revived his career and ended up going to the Seahawks and having the career that he had. I know people weren't there with him other than the people that were there with him. So the people that know him, I would assume, feel good about him. And really, in the end, as long as his support system supports him the way that they do, God bless.
Yeah.
And good luck, and enjoy your high knee actions, and try not to wake anybody up that would have to get thrown off of the airplane, like if he woke you up.
And by the way, if you've got a problem,
I mean, you're okay with him doing high knees and waking you up?
Hell no.
I
just told you. I think he's a cornball.
If you got a problem,
but it is what it
if
is.
you got a problem with Russell Wilson, just go to his office and talk to him. All right, the door's always open.
Yeah, but you got to talk. You got to make office hours.
Okay,
now. You got to talk to his secretary. You got to get on his calendar.
Yeah, I got to make sure. That laugh is brutal.